everyone, it's Andre Owens, and I'm back with another episode of Cosmic Mutiny. I'm with David L. Johnson and our favorite Doc Bastard. Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Not much. Just trying to get through this heat.
Is it hot down there?
Hot for the beach, but yeah.
The beach.
Yeah.
No. The beach.
Finally, weather machine has finally begun to function properly after we had beaten the engineer close to into death. They saw the white light, and the white light told them to get back to work. And the work it did get back to. So this is very good, very good.
I'm glad to hear that, Doc. Glad to hear that. So look, I know off camera we were talking a bit about films and about streamers canceling stuff, and I was just wondering, we were talking about Resident Evil being canceled, and I was wondering your thoughts on that, if you guys had any thoughts about that.
Yeah, I don't think I gave that show as much of a chance, but it makes me think of the Neil Gaiman show that's on right now, Sandman, and how, like that, I enjoyed it. I thought it was visually really cool. I liked American Gods, so I was really interested in this series, but like I follow Neil Gaiman on Twitter, and he's even saying that it's not a sure thing that they're going to get renewed, right, especially because of budget reasons and whatnot. But and that show's doing really well. It was like #1 for a while, and I don't know, I feel like they pulled the plug too quickly, or they just, I don't know, I think they overshot.
Yeah, I haven't watched Sandman yet. I'm anxious to start it. Me and my roommate here, we were going to try to watch it, trying to find a time we both can sit down and binge watch a couple episodes, So, but I'm anxious to see it. I did watch Resident Evil. It just wasn't to my taste. I'm number one. I don't know anything about Resident Evil. I never played a video game. I didn't watch the movie, so I'm kind of went into this blind. So I don't know what I was expecting, but the show just doesn't get me the way I thought it should hit me.
I understand that most video games, when they transfer to TV and movie, usually is donkey shit. Not much good. But they are video games. You can't, the transferable ability is dipshit.
Also, maybe they just exhausted the source material too.
Well, the game in itself relies on you to be in it. The TV show relies on you to just give up control. Mm-hmm. And you are now just passive audience watching something poorly scripted. And then there's always agendas that must be marked and has to be tailored for a number of other things. So it loses the appeal of why game was popular, so they can meet agenda, whatever that may be. There always some bullshit.
Yeah. You guys know what was the difference between the movies and the TV show? You guys, if you've seen both.
I got one episode into the show, but the movie, I think it was just it kind of knew what it was. It was just one of those big popcorn action movies, it's a series of movies, but they're nothing great. Right. I guess just
I never got a chance to watch them. There's so much stuff to view. It's just something I never caught up with. So I had no opinion going into the series. So
I'm not a big zombie watcher in general. That's my least favorite of the horror tropes.
Of the horror tropes. Okay.
Huh. Yeah. But
yeah. Well, it is what it is. That's the thing. We were talking earlier how quickly these streamers are canceling shows now and not giving them really an opportunity to build an audience maybe a show in the past got to do. Although I have noticed a trend in network television. I've read that #1 NBC may be cutting back on their primetime hours of showing original programming. But the new Equalizer with Queen Latifah this season went 19 episodes or something. So I don't know if we're going back to a trend of longer seasons now. If that's a sign of that or what. It's a reaction to these short 6-episode Netflix seasons. Maybe this we're going back to the old way possibly. For a lot of traditional viewing. Yeah.
Plus, it's I guess with the advantage of spreading your episodes over a weekly format, gives you the opportunity to shoot over a longer time. Where Netflix, when they go for the larger seasons, they end up being next season's coming 2 years from now.
Right.
And then you're okay, I really gotta wait 2 years to watch this again.
I wonder personally if it has anything to do with the unions, in a bit they do not want to pay unions. They probably do not want to pay. Like, there's a lot of like behind scenes that they probably want to avoid paying. So they were like, if we pay, we have to like continue series. We might have to make agreements with all these other organizations and yada yada yada. I'm speaking out of ass, of course, but sometimes I feel like they would rather sacrifice a limb to preserve, whatever little money they made. Like, we see the shows that they come on, and mind you, they get the Twitter. The Twitter likes them so much, but they don't get the viewership that that it doesn't reflect that. It's just like, oh look, everyone on Twitter loves us. They're sucking us off. But in reality, no one is sucking them off. No one wants to even touch their genitals. So they got it's a lot of bloated heads, as we used to say in country. Bloated heads. Yes, it is a bit ridiculous to see where a lot of the streaming shows, they tend to abandon ship very early.
Well, it's funny. It's like it's weird dichotomy because I do agree with you. I think that a lot of shows abandon too quickly, or even their seasons are too short, is to really explore all the things that they want to. But then you get, I don't know if this is better than having series like, before streaming, like series like Lost, that really just had a great premise and was really interesting, but really went nowhere in the larger sense because it just stretched on and on and on with no actual, input baked into it, so I don't know what works better.
I guess all of it boils down, like, they should all be approached like individually, but a lot of it boils down to like the greed of who's putting it out there. You know what I mean? They're like, if this is doing really well, they want to just keep riding it into death, and then like eventually make the thin the story out, make it not as strong as it would have been in maybe 3 seasons, versus the opposite, where I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's hard to say. I think they need to treat everything individually. Like, a lot of it becomes a numbers game, and they compare it to other things that have been successful in this amount of time or have not, and just cut it off without really giving its own chance, its own legs.
Well, and I heard I don't know who it was, but there was some director talking about his streaming series is a 10-hour movie. Which I guess you can think that way, but the television has its own rhythm, what I mean, and its own beats and its own way of acting. And I mean, even theatrical television has its own way compared to movies, so I don't know how that works out. I don't know if that's a legitimate thing for someone to say or to claim. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
I mean, mind you, a lot of times these shows, since we've gotten into the more explosions, the more CGI backgrounds and, green screen, budget prices have gone up. So, they have to say listen, we're not making all the money that we could be making because we got a lot of the CGI that we have to pay for. And since I think, in my opinion, and mind you, I don't actually watch television. I'm just guessing at this, again, out of my ass. But it's the shows, the to make the shows is very pricey, and then trying to gather enough people to give a fuck about the show is very complicated. And you got to get the complicated and the pricey together in the same jerk off session as everyone else. It's very hard. It's we have a lot of sci-fi shows that have recently came into the viewers market, and they've only survived 1 season. Now, this is technically very common in sci-fi. Usually a lot of sci-fi shows survive only 1 season, 2 tops. And it's really pricey to do them. So they're like, listen, this was theoretically a great idea, but no one gave a fuck about it. And when it comes down to it, it's hard to make people give a fuck about something. You can put all the race in it, all the genders in it. You can do all of the you can put the right cocktail together. But when it's missing the I do not give a fuck about show, you've wasted time. So they will probably go for things that are more like, money shots. Like this costs very little to make, and therefore we can also gather the right amount of audience. That's why you have a lot more trashy television shows that are like, yeah, this did not cost us a lot of money. We just had one car blew up. We can, we don't have to spend a lot of money on that. So you have a lot of they try to they try to find equilibrium in this.
It's like bulk produce.
Exactly. TV shows are like bulk produce. Sometimes you have a lot of rotting vegetables and fruit, and then a lot of times you try to cover rotting vegetables and fruits with new vegetables that are not, the new ones. And then once you start digging and the smell hits nose, you realize you've just stepped in shit.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. On that note, let's wrap this episode up here. That we've talking about stepping in shit, as it says. Now, probably just got demonetized because of the language, but hey, what the hell? Anyway, look, talk to you guys.
You can beep it out. You can beep it out.
We can beep it out. Beep that shit out.
Oh, yeah.
See, in country, we can beep it out. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys next time, and I'll see you soon.